Hatuwezi tarajia ati budget itakuwa pocket friendly. We should prepare for hard times ahead.
Eka budget, uanguze fertilizer, uanguze dawa zote, na hata manyua yenye tunanunua, jaribu kutuanguzia.
Even as we call for additional financing of the sector, we must demand for accountability foremost from ourselves.
As Kenya seeks to achieve food security and agricultural transformation, the disconnect between budget allocations and sector demands poses a risk to ongoing reforms and the bottom-up economic transformation agenda.
For agriculture to succeed, we still require the 10% which was signed, and they actually reaffirmed the same, that 10% of the national budget should go to agriculture so as to enhance food production and ensure that we have sufficient food in this country, and of course the entire African continent as per the protocol they signed. But surprisingly in Kenya we are still doing 3%. Why not enhance to reach that, at least even half, if it is difficult to have the 10%? Because they have been always oscillating between 2.9 up to 3% or 2.8.
Diving into the government's 2025-2026 budget, it promises targeted investment in key value chains, including maize, coffee, dairy, tea and livestock, with a heavy emphasis on increasing food production and lowering the cost of living. Fertilizer subsidies remain a priority, but with a tighter budget, farmers say more is needed.
Tunapoenda kununua ndawa, tunanunua fertilizer na tunanunua hata manyua ile ya mbuzi. Hizo vitu zote ziko bei ya juu sana. Ukiangalia kama fertilizer, bagi moja inatoka, ile bagi mzuri inatoka 9,000, na 9,000 tuseme kama uko na miche 300 ama 400, inakumbidi weke ngonia kama 4 za fertilizer. Na ukiangalia hiyo pesa, alafu uongeze pesa ya ndawa, uongeze pesa ya manyua, utakuta kwamba ukinunua hizo vitu zote, ununue ndawa, ununue manyua na ununue fertilizer, pale mwisho hautakuwa na kitu. Kwa hivyo ile kitu imetufinyilia sana ni kwamba hakuna pesa za kununua ndawa hizi, hakuna pesa za kununua manyua.
Agriculture sector has received an allocation of 58.2 billion Kenya shillings, far below the 106 billion shillings requested by the ministry. Of the total allocation, 48.25 billion is earmarked for the State Department for Agriculture. Fertilizer subsidy program within the sector will receive 8 billion Kenya shillings, although it requires 18 billion Kenya shillings. Livestock development receives 9.99 billion, coffee 2 billion. The tea reforms project needs 4.5 billion, yet received no funding.
Out of the budget that we have allocated for agriculture, how much of it is actually going strictly and directly to the farming community?
Specifically, Food Security and Crop Diversification Project has a funding shortfall of 1.5 billion Kenya shillings, and even though the allocation aims to reach over 3 million farmers, these financial gaps could impact agricultural productivity, food availability, and overall economic stability.
I thought it should be enhanced so that it caters for more farmers to enjoy this facility, because that, if you see this year, what happened is that there was more farmers who enjoyed the facility, and we had a lot of maize, and we need to increase together for the food security required in this country.
In a year marked by drought recovery and unpredictable rains, flagship projects like Galana Kulalu and Bura Irrigation Scheme are expected to receive a boost. Experts say this investment is key to reducing rain-fed agriculture dependency.
We are also here to relook at some of the policy framework that exists and to ask ourselves whether there should be a change in policy so that we can be more effective and efficient. If we don't register the farmers, then there is suspicion about our expenditure levels. For example, you said yourself, this is the rainy season. The rainy season is with us now, and we want to make sure that they get subsidized fertilizers. But we cannot get it to them unless we know who it is going to, and the general public also knows.
With a third of Kenya's population under 35 years, the government is banking on young people and women to transform agriculture into a modern business.
But we must urge our financial institutions to be more creative and alive to the intricacies of farming as a business. innovative. Acknowledge that the existence of farming and crop cycles means that farming is not a very high return business.
And as Kenya eyes food self-sufficiency and economic growth through agriculture, the 2025-2026 budget sets the stage for transformation. But from policy to the farm gate, the real impact will depend on political will, transparency, and listening to the voice of the farmer.
Mimi nalima majani chai. Ile factory nauza majani chai kuna wafanyikazi permanent. Kwa hivyo wanakatwa ile pesa ya housing. Na mimi kama muajiri nakatwa kama wanatoa tuseme wafanyikazi wote permanent mwezi mmoja wanalipa 1 million, naye factory ndiye employer anatozwa milioni nyingine. By extension ni mimi mkulima nalipa hiyo. Ni mimi nauza kahawa kwa society, inaenda hivyo hivyo. Ni mimi nauza maziwa, inaenda hivyo hivyo. Najiuliza, mwananchi wa kawaida wa tuseme pahali wanafuga mang'ombe na huko Northeastern, yeye anachukua ng'ombe zake 20, anapeleka kwa soko, anapatiwa pesa yake, anaweka kwa mfuko. Hii housing anajengea wapi?
Reporting for K24 TV, my name is Robbie Omondi.